And it's very well known, it's often said, he disliked the modern world. And of course this is absolutely true. But what I would like to say is that it was absolutely inevitable that he should. It springs from exactly the same source as his desire for fantasy. In the modern world, the word modern is the word that has to be emphasized. He loved the world, and he was in no conceivable sense a misanthrope. The modern world meant for him essentially the machine. And once again, this was a word that he tried to enlarge, so that when he speaks of the machine, and he more than once expressly said that it was one of the underlying themes for him in The Lord of the Rings was the machine. But we should think of something rather more than what the word machine naturally suggests to us, trains, motor cars, aeroplanes. He used it very compendiously to mean almost, you might say, an alternative solution to the development of the innate and inherent powers and talents of human beings. The machine meant for him, the wrong solution, the attempt to actualize our desires, like our desire to fly. It meant coercion, domination, for him the great enemy, coercion of other minds and other wills. This is tyranny. But he also saw the characteristic activity of the modern world as the coercion, the tyrannous reformation of the earth, our place. That is really why he hated machines. Of course, it's perfectly true. He hated the internal combustion engine for perfectly good practical reasons. I mean, noise, congestion, destruction of cities, and many people greatly agree with him now. And I think it is undoubtedly true that in this very large sense of the word machine, the supreme machine in the mythological terms is the ring, is the one ring. This, of course, may seem extraordinary, because many people would feel like saying, oh, but surely the ring is the most magic thing of all. To which he would have said, magic is very close to the machine. Magic is coercion, is the coercion of the world, the attempt by apparatus to transform the world. And indeed, the elves, as he again said, in saying all this, I'm largely drawing on what he himself said, putting it in my way. The elves represent, obviously they represent in a sense an aspect, they must do, of the humane. They represent an aspect of mankind, but raised in certain directions to a higher power, with powers that men don't actually possess. And that the ultimate aim of the elves is art and not power, whereas men have taken the solution of power represented by the machine. The ring is the ultimate machine because it was made for coercion, made by Sauron to coerce. And that is why the only solution to the problem of the ring, as the wise at Rivendell saw, was its destruction. And if the ring were not destroyed, it wouldn't in the long run matter whether Sauron got it himself. As he said once, Gandalf, if he had the ring, would be far worse than Sauron, because he would be righteous and self-righteous and coerce the world to its own good. And that was one of my father's greatest fears, was the coercion for good ends. He wasn't an unreasonable man, he wasn't an eccentric, he wasn't absurd. And of course he recognized that one must live in the world to an extent as it is. So he had a telephone, he even had a tape recorder when they were quite newfangled. But as a vision of how the world could be, the machinery of telecommunications, just as much as the airliner, no, they were not what he wanted in the world.